Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Lane Hoffert. Lloydminster MLA Colleen Young had a very eventful 2024, holding 2 cabinet positions and winning a 4th term. I talked to Young as she discussed her year and what's to come in 2025.
I'm joined today here with Colleen Young, who's the MLA for Lloydminster, and well, it's been quite a year for you, Colleen. Why don't you just take me through it a little bit?
Well, I guess we had an election, but prior to the election, there were nomination meetings for candidates across the province starting the year before. So even during the spring session of 2023 and 24, we were all busy campaigning and getting out and securing our nominations. And I became the candidate here for Lloydminster once again. So ran in the provincial election that happened here just in October. And so honored and appreciative of the support and the trust and confidence I've received from the constituents of Lloydminster. So thank you to all of them for returning me to be their voice and their advocate in the legislature. But yes, it was a very busy year getting out and traveling throughout the constituency, knocking doors, talking to folks, finding out what issues were within the constituency and garnering their support. So,
Yeah, it seems like, yeah, you had quite the year, especially with the election and stuff. What were some of the highlights of 2024?
well, I think our spring session was a very busy session. I mean, the 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 formation of the government at that point in time was, we put forward a number of bills and things that we wanted to see happen to support the people of this province, and continued on with those after the election in the fall. But it was a very busy time, and as you know, on May the 17th, at the very last day of session, I was sworn in as the new Minister of Advanced Education and Innovation Saskatchewan. So very busy time of the year for me. It's graduation, convocation time across the province, and I took the opportunity to travel from Estevan, Weyburn, Swift Current, Moose Jaw, Regina, Saskatoon, all the way up to Fond du Lac, La Ronge, to go to as many graduations and convocations of our post-secondary students as I possibly could in the province. So it was a great opportunity for me to see the number of students who are now out there in the workforce and contributing to our society. So that was a very busy time for me as well, getting around and meeting all of the boards and governors of all of the various colleges we have in our province too, which, on a much smaller scale than the universities and our Sask Poly, but a very important part of our labor force here in the province. And it was really great to get out and meet those folks and see what their concerns are, see what things we can do as government to support the growing labor force that is needed in this province. So that was a very good opportunity for me, as well as campaigning, because an election was coming in October.
And after this election, you were recently you got a new cabinet position. You're the Minister of Energy and Resources. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, yes, I think that, just from the going door to door and throughout all of our constituencies, the Premier recognized that, the people supported a 5th-term government again, but at the same time, they wanted to see some change. They wanted to see, a reflection of different parts of the province being supported in different ways. So yes, I quickly, after 4.5 months of being the post-education minister, was made the Minister of Energy and Resources, which has been an interesting and wonderful portfolio. As a matter of fact, I'm very engaged in meeting with a number of industry folks, not only from within our own province, but from out of the province and out of the country. We have industries here that, have investors that, are supporting big industries in our province. And it's really great to get to know those folks and to understand what we as a government can do to ensure that our economy does stay strong, because we are finding ways to incentivize that investment as well as support it as it moves along in our province.
Alrighty, and yeah, the now that the year is kind of wrapped up a little bit, what are your plans for 2025?
Well, there's lots of work here, even in my own constituency. I know that there's lots of different issues that came up during the campaign that I've already been working with different ministers on addressing. Just recently, in the last week or so, met with the mayor and our Minister of Social Services to try to address some of the homeless and houseless situation we have here in our community, as well as communities within our across our province. It's not just a Lloydminster issue. It's an even bigger issue in some of our other cities. But it is important for here, as well as some of the healthcare issues that continuously seem to come up. We can build facilities, but I think one of the major things, and this is something I learned even as post-ed minister, was ensuring that we are starting to prepare and make sure we have a labor force moving forward. So as we build new facilities, as we renovate hospitals, as we add long-term care facilities, a building is just a building. But unless you have the people and the staffing and the specialists and the doctors and the nurses and the healthcare aides to support those facilities and to be there to care for our citizens, we're behind the eight ball on that. So, I mean, that's something that we as a province realize and we are working hard on.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this, and you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Oh, well, the same to you, Lane, and to everyone in my constituency, as well as all of their families and friends. Safe travels wherever you're going for Christmas, and all the best to everyone in the new year. Good health, happiness, and prosperity. So Merry Christmas, everyone.
I'm joined now with Thomas Wildman, who's going to give us our first look at the weather of 2025.
Yeah, so it certainly is an interesting look here as we get into 2025. We've had that cold snap just hit us on New Year's Day and now into today, and that should continue into the weekend and quite late into next week as well. And so we're really feeling those January temperatures. We are going to see some relief as time goes on, but right now you really are feeling it. A high of minus 19 with that low of minus 28. Usual normals quite a bit better, a high of minus 8 and a low of minus 18. We're looking to get about 19 millimeters of precipitation this month. We got quite a bit last month, and so certainly a little bit more would be certainly appreciated, though at the same time the snow isn't really that appreciated for all of us out driving out here, but the farmers do like it. The current conditions at the Lloydminster Airport, minus 19 with a wind chill. We are all the way down to minus 27. So definitely a bit of a cooler day today. North Battleford is very similar. They're at minus 19 with the northwest wind hitting them. They're getting down to minus 24 for their wind chill. Taking a look at Cold Lake, they're even colder at minus 25 with the wind chill. They're getting down to minus 30. So very unfortunate north wind hitting them there today, making it quite uncomfortable for them. Taking a look at the current temperatures across the region, we're seeing minus 20s pretty much everywhere. The minus 20 we mentioned here in Lloydminster, that's the same for our guys down in Provost. Then minus 21 for Wainwright, Vermilion, as well as Marwayne. Minus 23 for Vegreville and Bonnyville and Cold Lake. Lac-La-Biche a little cooler at minus 22, as well as St. Paul. And then Edmonton at minus 18 for today. Up north, we've got Isle Cross on minus 22 as well. And then in the rest of Saskatchewan, Maidstone's at minus 20, as well as North Battleford and Macklin and Meadow Lake. Then minus 21 for St. Walburg and Green Lake, and then minus 23 for Pierceland for the cold place in Saskatchewan today. Tonight in North Battleford, we're going to have a low of minus 32. An unfortunate cool night for them. Partly cloudy, and it's going to be very cold. No chance, very little chance of precipitation, though, for them. That 13-kilometer wind certainly not going to help out this evening. Cold Lake's going to be similar, minus 31. It's going to be mostly cloudy again, and once again, very cold. It could even there is an extreme cold warning in effect there. So if you need to be outside, be sure to be well bundled up, wearing gloves, toques, mitts, and a very nice warm coat. 17% chance of precipitation, not likely going to be happening. Lloydminster, very similar. No extreme cold warning, but still a low of -29. It will be mainly clear this evening, and there might be some low clouds, so be careful of that for tomorrow in your early morning and late night commutes for today. Taking a look at the 3-day forecast, we're going to see those low clouds certainly affect visibility tomorrow with some hazy sunshine, -24 and a low of -28. Saturday, it's going to be very cold again, and it will be breezy, a high of -20, low of -22. And then on Sunday, a high of -18 and a low of -24. Very cold, low clouds once again. That will do it for our first look at the weather forecast. We'll have another look at the weather coming up later on in the show, but for now, we'll have some more news headlines.
Cold Lake had many different events in 2024, but also faced some challenges along the way. Our Jackson Fontaine caught up with the mayor of Cold Lake to talk about 2024 and what's in store for 2025.
I'm pleased to be joined with the mayor of Cold Lake, Craig Copeland, for our year-end interview. Craig, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
So Craig, just tell me a little bit about how the year went for Cold Lake.
The year went really well. You can sort of see that the economy is starting to pick up, post-COVID, doing a lot of capital projects inside the city of Cold Lake, and just more people coming to events and a little bit more excitement going on in this year for sure.
And what kind of events did Cold Lake host this year?
Yeah, Cold Lake loves to do festivals in the summertime, especially. The winter, there's usually events that are done by various nonprofits to sort of, keep the winter going. And then the city takes over for sure, kicks off with Canada Day. Prior to that, a big gala that we have in our community is called Hearts for Healthcare, which is all the proceeds go towards, helping out at the hospital or doctor clinics, buying equipment. And usually it's a party of the year, up $100,000 every year there. Canada Day was a lot of fun there. And then, of course, the big one in July is the air show. And so every 2 years, Fort Wayne Cold Lake hosts the air show. And this year, unfortunately, with the smoke, that caused problems. But we still managed to put like 25,000 people came through. And it's a great event. The static air display was just phenomenal this year. We had the Italian acrobatic team. And then, Aqua Days is an event that's down at the lake. A lot of fun for the kids. And then Mudfest was in town, Summer Rush, and then end of the summer was Feast on the Beach. So a lot of music, a lot of good food, and we had Rib Fest in town. So a lot of great events. And then this winter, basically going for winter is, Bullaramas and stuff like that.
Just tell me a little bit more about these events and how you felt they went.
We have a great crowd. It's tough for the nonprofits and even those for profits that are putting on big events. The costs of putting on, anything related to music right now, the production costs, the bands, everything's going up in value. So it's great that we can get, a lot of excitement in the community, get people busy. And what it does is creates a great economic stimulus inside the community, whether it's the gas stations, the hotels, the restaurants. And so it really, it's a big economic driver, especially that's why council supports a lot of tournaments. So the community grants helps organization put on big hockey tournaments or soccer tournaments, etc., lacrosse. And we want to do that because we get a lot of people staying in our hotels and eating in the community, right?
And Craig, did you guys have any big projects go on this year in Cold Lake?
Yeah, we had a lot of capital projects, some big ones, kind of ones that have continued for a bit, but certainly Lakeshore Drive, which is right beside the marina going northbound. What was happening there was the bank was sort of failing, and so we had to come in and prop up the bank, and we're building this big seawall and big retaining wall, and we came in and replaced all the undergrounds, the water and sewer to all of the houses there on that street, along the street. And so it's going to be finishing up next summer, but it's going to look beautiful. It's going to be quite the view for everybody. And that was a major project. The other one was we kicked off the wastewater treatment plant, which is, usually not a very exciting project dealing with everybody's business, but that one's going to be state-of-the-art facility. So that's put on by the Regional Utility Service Commission, which the City of Cold Lake is a big partner in that. And so they're going to have a state-of-the-art facility, like I said, and that's a project that's starting construction this year, and it'll go into next year.
What are some obstacles that City Council faced in 2024?
Well, our biggest thing is that when we went into the 24 budget deliberations, it was quite obvious that there was some sort of new issues that were coming up for municipalities. Cold Lake wasn't unique to it. Homeless file here has been, crazy, and the crime and the drugs, the meth that's in town. So that was a big change. Council put a lot of money towards private security, and also manning up municipal enforcement by 24 hours a day. We brought in a lot of bylaws preventing kind of people hanging around back alleys and just randomly panhandling. And so we went really aggressive on the homeless camps, because we do have a shelter here that takes in both men and women. But unfortunately, a lot of the homeless people don't want to necessarily go to the shelter. They'd rather live in the bush. And that's caused, we had over 20 fires this year, and so that it wears and tears on the RCMP and all our enforcement people and the fire department. Just the wear and tear of dealing with these shelters. We moved over 50,000 pounds of debris from the camps. They're just hoarders stealing stuff and then building these camps, and we just can't allow that behavior going on.
How can obstacles like these be avoided in 2025?
Well, I don't know. I think it's happening everywhere, right? And so, interesting enough, like John Howard, who runs the society there that runs the shelter for us, provincially funded. The city came in and purchased we bought a drilling camp, and it works really well for a shelter. It's a 20-bed shelter. And so, we are seeing that people don't necessarily want to go inside the shelter. They want to live just randomly. And how we fix this problem, it's something's got to be done in our area. I'll just say Cold Lake, but in the general area in Northeast, we need a mental health facility. We need a detox drug treatment facility, so people can go in there for long term, not just a short duration. We want a long-term treatment facility up here in Northeast Alberta, and that's something that council is hoping that the province is going to fund up in our area for sure.
And finally, Craig, moving forward to 2025, what are the goals and expectations for Cold Lake?
I think Cold Lake is going to be in 25. We're going to see a really exciting building get built. It's been a work in progress. A local firm is doing it, but certainly Stepping Stones is the crisis center for women's shelter. It's going to be about a 63-bed facility that will be completed going into the summer of 25. That's going to be exciting. To have that. We have many great professionals in Cold Lake that service the social end of it. So that's exciting. But, looking at, for us, we're looking for the provincial budget this spring, in the spring of 25. We're sure hoping that Highway 28 is going to be finally recognized in a major, millions and millions of dollars to twin that highway and also to do passing lanes. So that'll be a big one we're looking for. And we're hoping that in 25, we have final conclusion with our outstanding tax litigation with the federal government. It's called PILT, Payment in lieu of taxes. We're challenging them on that discrepancy. And so we're hoping that gets concluded in 25 and we can move on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this today and wish you nothing but the best for 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now here are your market numbers for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
The Holy Rosary Raiders had an outstanding 2023, coming off of winning the Tier 3 Provincials Alberta Bowl once again. They hope to repeat with some new and old personnel and had another outstanding year. Our Thomas Wildman has more on the Raiders' 2024 season.
Today I'm joined by Vince Oreo, the head coach of the Holy Rosary Raiders football team. He's here today to talk about their season and their year as a whole. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Vince, and having us come out to a few of your practices and letting us cover the great team.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, Vince, so it was another very exciting season for you guys in the Wheatland Football League and at Provincials. Just talk to me about another great season under your guys' belt, and what were some of the things that you were really impressed with your team and your coaches that really led to great success once again this year?
Yeah, I mean, it really was a great season. If we think back all the way to August 16th when we started, just the commitment from the kids, you know, to buy into a system. I would say most impressive with those guys is just the consistent effort they brought every week. It didn't matter who we were playing. Their preparation was fantastic. Their commitment to, you know, just getting things right on both sides of the ball. And from a coaching staff perspective, you know, I'm blessed to have just fantastic guys working with me. Our Owen defensive coordinators and position coaches, they just bring that enthusiasm and knowledge every day to practice, and they challenge the kids. And fortunately for us, the kids are up for the challenge.
All right, and so you guys win the Wheatland Football League. Talk to me about that league and how competitive it is, because multiple teams get to make provincials and have become provincial champions as well as you guys, and just how exciting it is to be in a league that is so prominent in Alberta here in the Northeast.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up, because I don't think the Wheatland Football League gets enough credit. You know, we're in the Northeast, we're small, we'll be down to 3 teams next year, but if you just look over the past few years, with our team winning provincial championships now 3 years in a row. St. Paul won last year, so we had 2 winners at Tier 3 and Tier 4. St. Paul in the league final every year. Cold Lake participated this year and got all the way to the semifinal. And then if you go back just a few years, 2019 and on, you know, you've got multiple teams in provincial finals. I think one year we had 3 teams from our league, or a couple of times actually, 3 teams from our league in provincial finals. So it's competitive. You know, the kids are well coached in this region. It's sort of that mystery, I think, for the rest of the province is how do teams continue to come out of the Northeast and be competitive.
And so the teams continue to come out of the Northeast and be competitive, but you guys have continued to come out of the Northeast and be incredibly competitive at the Tier 3 level. And I believe this is what, the 4th or 5th provincial championship win in a row. What are the things that you and your coaching staff have done with the players to be able to be this successful at a provincial level for years and years now?
Yeah, I think from a coaching staff perspective is we put in a lot of time, and not just during the season. There's a tremendous amount of effort that goes into it outside the season with planning and preparation, and the kids recognize that. And they know that we're in it to win it every year. That's our goal. It's every team's goal, but you know, when you've got the athletes to do it and you're legitimate and the kids buy into that system, and you know, they just don't play football for 3 months. They're working out. They go to camps. So they commit to the sport and to the program really 12 months a year, and that's what it takes to be competitive.
Awesome, and we'll talk now a little bit about some of those kids and some of your graduating kids. How important is it for them as we get now into December and some of them are making decisions for their post-secondary careers? Are any of your kids so far looking to be going on to post-secondary careers and playing football for other organizations, and how proud that makes you as a coach and coaching staff to have kids move on to the next level?
Yeah, you know, we've got a few that are looking to move on to the next level, whether it's junior or university. But it surprises me every year how little attention our players get from U Sport teams and junior teams. I know we're not in a metropolis, but we are on the provincial level at a high level every year, and we play in those big games, and yet our kids don't get as many opportunities as maybe kids from other programs. So I think teams are missing out on the opportunity to recruit some of our players. We've got kids that are willing and wanting to go on. They're waiting for an opportunity, and for some it just never comes. So, you know, if anybody out there is listening, pay attention to Holy Rosary Raiders. There's some great football players, and they would make fantastic student athletes. I think that is one of those things we don't talk about enough too, is the academic level that these kids maintain while playing high school sports. We've got some great kids who are going to be fantastic adults and make a significant contribution to the community at multiple levels, and I think teams are missing out.
And then most recently here, you also had received an award from the ASAA. So tell me a little bit about that award and just how recognizable that is for you and how proud you are that you are getting recognized at the provincial level for contributing to Alberta high school sports.
Yeah, it's the Alberta Zone Award of Merit, and incredibly proud to receive that award, and I'm thankful for the people that put in the nomination. Ashley Fullerton, our high school athletic director, put in the time and gathered some information from some folks around the school to put that together. And really, that award is given to somebody who contributes a great deal of time to high school athletics. So for myself, I've been in the Northeast Zone as a coach for 27 years. I've been on the board for Football Alberta for over 20, been the football commissioner in the zone for 10 years, the president of the Wheatland Football League for over 10 years. And I'd just like to contribute. I want to see the kids have opportunities and be successful. So if I can have a voice in that, then I'm going to volunteer for that. And at the end of the day, it's nice to get recognized. It's not why I do it, obviously, but it is nice that some folks thought I was worthy nominee and recipient of the award, so I'm appreciative of that.
Well, congratulations again for winning that award. And then finally, to finish out, I know we're a long way away from the spring and into the summer, but how excited are you for the 2025 season for your team and trying to repeat once again as Wheatland football champions and maybe yet another provincial title?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be up for the challenge, right? You have to, it's hard to say farewell to those that are graduating, but we've got the philosophy that we don't rebuild, we just reload, and we've got some great kids coming back and lots of experience. We had a roster of over 50 this year, and we'll return close to 40 of those kids. And the challenge for them is to do what the kids before them have accomplished. So they're motivated to do that, and we're excited to work with them through that.
All right, well, perfect. Well, congratulations to yourself and your team for yet another great year, and we will have more and more coverage of your team next year for the Holy Rosary Raiders football to defend their provincial title and their Wheatland title once again.
Now here are your agriculture prices for today. The role of an MLA consists of many different things. Our Jackson Fontaine had the chance to talk to Vermilion Lloydminster Wainwright MLA Garth Roswell to discuss how his year went and his plans for 2025.
So I'm happy to be joined here today with MLA Garth Roswell for a year-end interview. Garth, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate the invite.
So before we kind of get going, why don't you just tell me a little bit how the year went for you?
Well, it's been an extremely busy year, spring, summer, and fall. I'm on about 10 or 11 committees. I kind of lose track, and some special ones that I was involved in the committee that hired the new chief electoral officer. And we just this week finished up our reviews of the Conflict of Interest Act and the Personal Information Protection Act. So it's been, and a whole bunch of other ones. I also did one recently with health foundations and how they fit into our new system. And so we traveled the province and talked to health foundations all across the province, including Wainwright and Lloydminster, which have two very active foundations. So it's been a busy, busy summer, that's for sure.
So just tell me a little bit, some of the highlights of the year, would you say for you?
Ooh, for me, one that I've been working on a long time is getting nurse practitioners the ability to have their own clinics. It's something in my first term, wasn't long after I got elected, I got knowledgeable about what they were doing, what they'd like to do, so I started advocating for them. So finally, it was this fall that we got nurse practitioners able to have their own clinics. And now in Vermilion, we have one that has their own clinic, one that works out of the hospital, another one that works in the primary care network, and then another one that is doing some training to be able to open up her own clinic as well. So I think in the long run, that's going to really pay benefits relative to primary care.
Oh, well, that's awesome. So you were in the United States in November.
Yep.
So just tell me a little bit about what you were doing there and what do you think you kind of accomplished there?
Well, it was part of a course I went on. It's called LEHI. It's the Legislative Energy Horizon Institute. So in the summertime in July, I went down to Richland, Washington State, and they taught us all about all the different sources of energy and ways to produce electricity and utilize it and all that stuff. And then we went to Washington. That was the second part, and that was all about policy. So we got to know how things work down there. And the federal government's way more involved in their electrical system than they are up here. And so they depend on them for funding, and there's a lot more interaction that way. And I discovered that what we're doing here in Alberta is quite unique. And so what I've told them, I think could be good for them, for maybe our Minister of Affordability and Utilities to go down and make a presentation so they can see how we do it in Alberta.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure that was probably a really great trip, and you probably enjoyed it a lot, eh?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, the only other Canadian was from Quebec.
Wow.
And the rest were all from, I think there was 38 different representatives from 26 different states.
Oh my God.
So it was, just mingling with those guys, seeing how they do things compared to us, and then making connections and networking so that, if, with the threat here of these tariffs that are coming on, we're planning trips in January. I'm going to at least a couple, if not 4 different state capitals in the States, and we'll be going and making the case to them, to make the case to the federal government and the new president that we should not go down this tariff path.
Sure, it'll be another great trip. So obviously every year there's going to be ups and downs. It's not going to be smooth flowing like every year, but just tell me a little bit, like, did you face any obstacles or challenges over the years, or over this year, I should say?
This past year, obstacles. I don't know, like I don't even think about them as obstacles anymore. Like, there's issues that you have to deal with when you're trying to accomplish something, and then you don't accomplish it on the first try maybe, but then you do accomplish it down the road, So one that I've been working on, I know locally here in Lloydminster, they're trying to get some money for the new Cenovus hub, and we've been working at it, and the mayor and council have been doing a great job of advocating to the provincial government, and I've been doing my part in there. We all play our roles, and we should find out in February if we're going to be successful or not. But it's a big project, and we've been working hard at it.
All right, so we'll kind of move towards 2025. So do you have any, like you were kind of mentioning projects there, do you have any big projects coming up for the new year?
Well, oh boy, just the ongoing stuff. I'm a deputy chair of the Public Accounts Committee, and it's probably a committee no one ever hears about, but we hold all the different ministries. They have to come and report how they've done relative to what their goals were, what they said they were going to do, and did they do it, and were they on budget. And it's kind of a partisan one where it goes back and forth. And I was down in Quebec. I went to a Canadian conference on how to run effective public account committees. And so I brought that back and talked to the chair, because the chair is always the opposition member. And we're working towards making it a nonpartisan, really holding departments and ministries to account, and not have it as a showcase where you try to beat up on each other. So that's kind of where we were. We're trying to change that, and I think we got the right chair in there. We're getting along really well, and if we can do that, I think we can do some really good work and work really closely with the Auditor General. So that's a goal. If I have when I'm done this job, if I can look back and say we have a properly functioning Public Accounts Committee, that'll be a mark on the wall for me. No one else will recognize it, but it'll be something I'll be happy about.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. And final question I have for you, what are some goals and expectations you have for yourself for 2025? Well,
I want to help ministers. My 2 big areas are health and energy.
Sure.
And health, I've been working on doing stuff for them. And the other one is energy. I've decided to take on the case for coal. Okay. This summer I traveled down to Crow's Nest Pass. I went to Grassy Mountain and went up and toured the mine there, talked to the local people. And I decided I'm gonna try to help out the coal industry. And there's lots of neat technology that they're using now that should mitigate any of the problems that come from coal. And it could just be a great win for Alberta if we could properly exploit our coal resources and do it in an environmentally friendly way. So that's an exciting one for me that I want to get involved in.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for joining me today, and I wish you nothing but the best for 2025.
Well, thank you very much.
We'll be back with more primetime local news after the break. '24 was a busy year for Border Paws Animal Shelter. Abby St. John has more on their year and the plans the shelter has for 2025.
Border Paws Animal Shelter spends their year raising money through fundraisers, adoption events, and this year was no different. 2024 brought a lot of different fun events that brought in money, and some new events as well, like the Halloween Haunted House, which hopefully becomes an annual thing. So a lot has happened this year, and I'm sure a lot will happen next year. So that's what we're here to talk about, some of the highlights from this year and the plans for next year. So to start off, what were some of the highlights from 2024?
So 2024 saw quite a few events, and every single one of them was, I would describe as successful. We've got so many animals adopted out, and that is ultimately the goal, is to find the homes for these guys. During the springtime, we had we went to the Hillmond Family Fun Day at the hall there. That was so much fun. They had bouncy houses and different things. We got to bring some animals for people to see. Sashimi. We also took part in Street Fest. We had May 23rd was our grand reopening for our new building, which was huge. A lot of people came out for that, so thank you so much. We also had the Man's Best Friend comedy show, which was back in June, which was very successful as well. The day after that, the Just Cruisin' Father's Day car show, again, huge success. Got to go and see a lot of really cool cars.
And that event is always huge, successful, not just for you guys, but for the car show in general. It's a huge event.
Giant.
Yeah, so it's great that you guys are able to go to those bigger events, like the Tattoo Expo as well. Those are great opportunities for you to raise money and to reach people who may not think about the shelter, but they love these types of car events or a tattoo show. So those were fantastic successes as well, I think.
I absolutely love the collaborations, because you get so many different groups and different people coming together who wouldn't normally. So it helps us reach a wider audience, which we love. Hi, sweetie. We also had a few PetSmart adoption weeks where the full week was us at PetSmart with our animals. We got so many adopted. And if you want, we do have, I believe, some kitties at PetSmart right now. You can go and check them out and maybe adopt them or foster them for the holidays. There was the Cars, Cats, and Dogs car show also. They did a barbecue for us, which was amazing. Like, a huge shout out to Randy Marsh for making the burgers and pretty much organizing that for us, because that was amazing. He really does do a lot for the shelter, and with Bev Lorenz, a huge shout out for all that you do for us throughout the year. A lot of what we do wouldn't be possible without help from the people like that. So we greatly appreciate all your support. We also had barbecue at St. Thomas right before school started, which was awesome. It was so great for like the families to come down and see the animals that we had there.
And also near the end of summer, it's a great way to kick off school starting and the summer vacation coming to an end. And barbecues are always a huge success for you guys as well.
It's so, amazing. We had a Synovus event where kind of same with the schools, the anti-stress. We took some puppies that made some messes, but we brought some puppies down there for the staff, Synovus, to kind of cuddle with and play with. I believe we did get a few adoptions out of that as well. Excuse me. We also Yeah, in October, our haunted house, which was a huge success, and just want to thank everybody who volunteered and who helped donate and make that happen. And we are planning on doing it again for 2025 and hoping to make it even bigger than it was.
Yes, because I do remember the inception of the idea came from you, and I remember you telling me about it back in, I think, August or September, and I knew that it was, as soon as you said it and you had that determination, I knew that it was going to be a success. And it was fantastic. I walked through it, and the actors that volunteered and the decorations and everything that was donated and made by people in the community, it was a huge success, and I'm very excited that it is an annual event.
Julie and James built so much for that. They built our guillotine, the Grim Reaper. There was a rotten candy stand. Like, they go above and beyond. And for our jail and bail, we have a little jail cell out front. They also put that together and got it to us for that event. So huge shout out to them too, because I don't think without them we wouldn't have been able to have as much success as we did with those events. Like, the vibes can kind of be everything, and they really did go above and beyond for us. So I can't thank them enough.
Now, finally, Jail and Bail was the most recent and last event of the year. How did that go? That is your annual biggest event of the year, and that just concluded, and that kind of wraps up 2024 for events. So how did that go this year?
So this year we had a staggering number of intakes. We're almost at 400 animals in total, and with things like jail and bail, the money that we raise from that really helps us to take care of them until they find their forever homes. And at the last count, which we're not at our total numbers yet, but we had raised over $20,000 for jail and bail. So thank you again to everybody who came out, the good sports who let me walk into your businesses playing the cops theme song to arrest you. You're all such great sports about it, and really, like, my heart is so full from all of the volunteers, all the help, all the support that we got this year. We really could not have done it without this community. So thank you.
So then for 2025, I know 2024 was jam-packed. For 2025, I know you have big ideas.
Yes.
We've talked about some of those ideas just between you and I, but is there anything concrete that people can look forward to for the new year?
So far, we do have some things in the works, nothing completely solid yet, so just keep an eye on our Facebook and on our socials, and we will be posting quite a few events, I feel, for 2025. This is going to be a little bit of something for everybody.
Which is wonderful,
yeah.
and what you guys do best too. You guys always throw the best events. Now for the Sick and Injured Fund, because we're always going to mention that it was depleted, but it is something that is so vitally important for the shelter, for the animals, especially because it all goes back to their medical needs.
Yes.
So as a reminder, where can people go to donate to that Sick and Injured Fund?
So any monetary donations you want to make to the Sick and Injured Fund, you can do so in person. We do take cash, debit, or checks. You can also email finance@borderpaws.ca, and in the memo field write Sick and Injured, and 100% of everything that goes into that fund helps with the medical costs, because this year we did have quite a larger number of animals who needed extensive medical care. And with the Sick and Injured Fund, that's something that we will always need, because being donation-based and a nonprofit, we heavily rely on the community and the donations from the community to help these little babies. And especially winter time, we've got the frostbite, animals being left out. There's strays who unfortunately get struck by vehicles, things like that. And we just want to be able to help as many of them as we possibly can, and because of you, we're able to. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, this year has been quite the success for you guys, and I have no doubt that 2025 will be no different. So thank you for joining me, and throughout the entire year during every Tuesday during Pet Project. It is the best day of the week for me, so it's fantastic. And we will be back in the new year for Pet Project 2. So that won't be going away. That will remain every Tuesday. So thank you for joining me throughout the year, and I wish you the best of luck for 2025.
Thank you so much.
Coming up after the break, Thomas Wildman will give us another look at your weather.
Welcome back, folks. We're going to take a quick look at the current temperatures. Starting off here on the Alberta side of the central region, Lloydminster at -20 as it was earlier, Cold Lake at -23. We see Whitecourt similar to us here in the border city at -20, -21 for Athabasca. A little warmer in Edmonton and Edson at -18. Warmer still down in Red Deer and Rocky Mountain House at -17. Then all the way in the mountains in Jasper, a nice -14. On the Saskatchewan side, it's very similar. We're seeing -20 for Meadow Lake North and North Battleford, -19 for Prince Albert and Saskatoon, and then quite a bit cooler at Melfort at -22. Taking a look down south in the Saskatchewan side, they're similarly quite cold as well. -23 for Regina, -22 for Kindersley, -20 for Yorkton, -21 down by the border for Estevan, and -19 for Moose Jaw, -18 for Swift Current. On the Alberta side, it's pretty cold in Coronation still, -22, but then Medicine Hat and Lethbridge a little warmer at -15 and -13, Calgary at -16, and then Banff at -14. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecast here in the border city, at 6 a.m. it's going to be cloudy and cold, -28, and then at noon it will warm up a little bit. That cloudiness will stay around for the hazy sunshine, -25 at that time. It's going to continue to cool off down into 6 p.m. at -28, and that haze will be still around, and then it will warm up a tiny bit as we get into the night there at midnight, -27. Very little chance of precipitation though for tomorrow, so likely no snow. North Battleford is going to be mostly sunny, but it is going to be quite cold, and it could be an extreme cold warning in effect, so like tonight, if you're out in North Battleford, just be a little bit careful and make sure you are well bundled up for any evening and outdoor activities for tomorrow at -26 for the high. Taking a look at Cold Lake, they're going to be similar, -22. They are going to be mostly sunny, but again, very cold. Be bundled up. With those winds, you're going to be seeing temperatures as low, well below -30, with the high being as cold as -22. Taking a look for the travel forecast across the area, we're going to be seeing very similar things. Meadow Lake at -23. You're going to be a little bit warmer at -22, but very cold. Be well bundled up no matter where you are in our region, whether you're on the Saskatchewan or the Alberta side. That's true for further away. It's getting down to -25 in Unity, and a little bit warmer though for our friends down south in Calgary, -15, though there will be some low clouds. So if you're doing any final Christmas and holiday traveling, be sure to be careful there. And then, as I mentioned, later on, it's going to get a little bit warmer, especially next Tuesday for a high of -9, low of -10. But we got to get through Mondays where it's going to be still cloudy and very cold. And then we're going to see a positive temperature there on Wednesday. And so definitely some good things to look forward to next week, though we are going to have to get through this week first.
Sounds like that roller coaster winter that we're having will continue through into the new year, 2025. That's all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks for joining us.